President Trump is planning a big crackdown on illegal immigration. Surprise, the moment he gets into office. And now some counties are being granted limited powers by ICE, allowing them to identify illegal immigrants already in their jails. It sounds like kind of their job. Brooke Taylor has the latest from Dallas. Brooke.
Hi, Tammy. Yeah, the program is called 287G, and how it basically works is it allows local and state law enforcement that run these jails to partner up with ICE, and then specific officers, well, they are trained to then speak to anyone who's behind bars, ask them questions about their immigration status, and if they are here illegally, then they can flag ICE and let them know. So critics of this program, they say it creates a divide between immigrant communities and law enforcement. But supporters say you only need to look at the headlines to see why this is needed. This is surveillance footage you're looking at from a recent shootout in New Orleans at a meat market. According to ICE, one of the suspects involved was already facing criminal gun charges out of New York. This is something we hear often. This is a few mugshots of illegal migrants that ICE picked up over just the last few weeks. Now, they already walked out of jails, released on bond with either ICE holds just ignored or ICE never notified. Well, the Rockwall County Sheriff here in Texas, he is part of this 287G program. He tells us he did not want this happening in his community.
The way that works is when someone is booked in on a crime that they've committed here locally, or they may have a warrant from a local agency, they're booked in through the jail. If it's suspected that they're not a U.S. citizen, then our trained 287G staff will do a further investigation on it to figure out who they are.
So after that happens, officers will then flag ICE, and then it is up to them to put an ICE detainer on them or pick them up. Right here in Texas, 25 counties participate in this program, but with a new Trump administration, more jails expected to join in on this. Tammy.
Well, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. You know, Griff, this sounds like their job. Like there's some 3 numbers and a letter, G, and it's their job, making it sound like it's some new concept. Am I wrong here?
No, so this isn't new. This has been around for a long time.
Right.
And 287G is a part of the 50-year-old Immigration and Nationality Act. That's where Title 42 is. That's where Title 8 is. It's our immigration law for the country. And what they're essentially doing, Tammy, is there's available to any jurisdiction, any county in the country, allowed to take the federal responsibility of immigration and transfer these specific powers inside jails to identify criminal migrants to better easily turn them over to ICE for removal, because it's the Fed's job to remove them. And it's a fairly complicated thing. There's 2 models, a jail enforcement model, and then the warrant service officer, which trains the local sheriffs and deputies to do this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the point is that if you identify criminal migrants in the jails that are already deemed ready to be deported and should be deported, it allows them from being released back into the community and posing a threat. But in places like San Francisco, Chicago, here in New York, time and time again, we see that ICE has to learn after the fact they were released, go into communities and try and find them, God forbid, before they commit other crimes.
Right. I mean, Jerry, that's what we've seen, the spike, the nature of not cooperating, right? Sanctuary cities dynamics. This seems to be the core of it. And now perhaps we're getting some change happening.
Well, some change. This is the low-hanging fruit that we were promised by President Trump, President-elect Trump, right? This makes all the sense of the world. Shouldn't it be the program that's used by counties and states all over the country? I think it absolutely is. Look here in New York City. We have really hit a wall with immigration. Just last week, a woman was set on fire on a subway car, and the man who did it was an illegal immigrant, and he sat and watched as she burned to death. This was astonishing, not just the people in New York City, the people all over the country. And now folks want change. They want some kind of legal law enforcement. And this seems to be like the most rational and reasonable thing to do.
You know, Kaylee, I think a lot of Americans are thinking that something dramatic happened that kept people from being able to do this. But the question now becomes, it's one thing to do it voluntarily. What about those cities that are still vowing to say they're not going to cooperate? And I know Homan is saying that he's got some plans for those cities. Isn't there a way for the federal government to make it harder on cities that simply do not cooperate?
Well, they could start by cutting those cities' funding. New York City has spent about $6 billion on funding for illegal immigrants, whether that's paying to house them, paying them for jobs, including the illegal immigrant who set a woman on fire, who, by the way, had been deported by the Trump administration before he was allowed to illegally cross the border again under the Biden administration. And, I don't think it's a coincidence that many of the counties that are participating in this program are direct border states that understand the consequences of unfettered mass migration the most. You have Arizona, Texas, even Florida participates heavily in this program. And on the other side, you have the sanctuary cities, you have the sanctuary states that refuse to listen to their citizens' concerns about these issues. And if there's one good thing to come out of this election cycle, I think it's that Americans got a glimpse into how little these city officials, these state officials care about them. I think about when Donald Trump and J.D. Vance brought up the case in Springfield, Ohio, which is about 30 minutes from where my own family lives in Ohio. And those citizens were extremely concerned about the influx of illegal immigrants. And what did the Democrats do? They dismissed it as a made-up story. They dismissed their concerns completely.
Right.
And meanwhile, the only people who were willing to listen were Trump and Vance. And you know what? That is exactly what needed to happen, because people needed to understand who was willing to listen and advocate for them.
It's interesting, Kara, that despite the election, despite it clear that Americans responded to that message from Trump and Vance, there's still this confusion with the Democrats that they somehow have got to, it's a new generation they say they've got to think about, or all of this still is fake, and that it's, they don't understand what's happened, and they're in disarray. It's a pretty easy answer, isn't it, when it comes to caring about your constituents and doing the right thing when it comes to crime in general?
Of course it is. Some things are black and white, pure and simple. And Democrats love to live in the gray area. But I think Tom Homan, the incoming border czar, is really taking a sophisticated tack here. And he basically says, we're going to triage the threat. We're going to take public safety threats, and we're going to take national security threats, and we're going to prioritize those for potential mass deportation. So they are listening to the everyday American, to your family, to my family in Southern California, who delivered this mandate for President Trump incoming. So I think, the Democrats are hopefully going to get overruled here by the general sophistication of Tom Homan and the ability of Republicans to see black and white for what it is. This is a great thing. I'm glad they're going to let law enforcement be law enforcement, and that should win the day.
And I think there's still a resistance attitude that's out there to see how far they can push, or maybe all of this is fake and Trump's not real. I mean, it's really kind of amazing for all of us that he's going to be the president again. But ultimately, I think it's going to be up to, defunding, right? Federal action against these cities, because they haven't been living in reality for quite some time.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McGhee on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.